granted, everybody hyped up. But when Alabama got within 7 points, and he took it right back down the field and scored. And I mean, that had probably been the loudest I heard Brian Daniels since Tyrone Prothro called a touchdown over Florida. I've been to a lot of Alabama games.
That's been years. We're talking about decades ago.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as loud as Brian Denny was, he took his team right back down there and scored it. And I said, okay, he's legit. When he did that, I'd never seen most quarterbacks, especially during the Saban era, it gets high pressure, you better understand what's about to happen. And because being a part of that culture, Alabama fans, once we get within 3, or better yet, we go up 10, the pressure cooker's on.
Right.
And Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, whatever y'all want to call him.
Joe Shiesty, whatever you want to call
had
it.
no problem with saying, okay, I hear you, but I don't hear you. Let's go win this championship.
No, of course. And you got to understand as well, you talk about there's probably a handful of special quarterbacks that's beaten Saban even at Alabama. The Manziels, you got to be a Manziel, you got to be a Newton, you got to be a Tebow, you got somebody like that. Like it's not regular for you to be like that.
Right. And even Tebow didn't win it in Brian Denny. He had a neutral site, and that was Saban's kind of early team. But you saw once Saban got his pot and got his recipe in there. They sent Tim Tebow home also. So,
that right there stuff here. But there's not a lot of teams that have those two guys and a Jefferson on their team.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's another thing that runs into it as well. But we want to thank you guys coming inside the Red Zone. This is episode 10 of our great show, a very unique and special show. We've got a special guest with us, none other than Mr. Brian Harper himself, the brother of course, one of the premier defensive backs in the NFL, Roman Harper, that played for not only the Saints, that be marching in, of course, and then, of course, the Carolina Panthers. It's a pleasure to have you on, Mr. Harper.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here, man. When you talk about those Saints team, one of the first teams that went 14-0 before they lost, and Carolina Panthers went 15-0 for lost one. So he's on both of those teams. So that's pretty much a kind of historical thing for both of those teams to win that many games in a row before they finally lost.
He was part of the 09 championship team?
Absolutely. Leading tackler in the Super Bowl.
I remember that. Tracy Porter picked it off.
The onside kick, Geronimo.
Absolutely.
A lot of great times, man.
A lot of great moments on that with Sean Payton in the Big Easy. Again, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on. Talk to us here just a little bit about yourself, like who you are, a little bit about your upbringing, some of the special things and the neat things that you're doing in the community as well as the connections that you have with, growing up in a football family, and also the things that you're doing currently.
Oh, man, when it comes to those connections and stories, man, I could be here all day with some of the players that we know and have encountered. Roman came out with Reggie Bush. So, and Reggie was dating Kim Kardashian at the time. So there's some stories there.
There's a lot of stories
there.
Yeah.
But me here, man, I've been in Atlanta now for about like 8 years. I do a lot of motivational speaking. I go to a lot of different high schools and some colleges, talk to them about their faith, their approach on and off the field. I was lucky enough that when the University of South Alabama formed their football team, I was the first player development team chaplain guy down there, along with Coach Joey Jones and Bill Clark. So I saw the start of that program. Later on, helped get a Jacksonville State Gamecocks team back on their feet. Of course, only been there with Bill Clark for 1 year. We still turned around and went to the quarterfinals in that, and then went over to UAB. And so right now, my brother still has his foundation, Harper's Hope for One. I've done a lot of things in helping his foundation out. And like I said, right now, I'm just here in the Atlanta community. I go around talking with kids and just working and still just trying to stay afloat and breaking down film with him for SEC Nation during the week. So it's pretty much it, man.
No, absolutely. I love it. Speaking of SEC breakdowns, there's a lot of things that you guys do. Talk to me about your relationship with your brother post-retirement in the NFL, obviously, because, it's a lot of endorsements that come calling. It's a lot of media, TV ratings start coming calling. So have you guys kind of kept that core nucleus and that continuity with each other?
Man, the script for us was so what people would want. Not overly famous, but famous enough. Not overly wealthy, but enough. And so after 11 years in the league, there was a transition period of Roman not sure what he did. He didn't want to be a general manager. I think he kind of wanted to go into that phase.
Right.
But then I think he was still too young and still too close to the game to work in the front office or how to operate it.
Right.
So he removed himself and started getting into more of the commentating part of the broadcasting part down in New Orleans. And so he did a season with them on the radio and television, sports television. And then after that, lucky enough, SEC Nation came and called an interview for it, and the rest is history. He and I have always maintained a relationship. We talk every other day. All of our siblings are close. Let me be clear. I got a younger sister, who's probably the most athletic one, but now she's a biomedical engineer. Go figure that. Yeah,
that's impressive.
I have a younger brother, Ronnie, who played at Troy, who definitely from a male standpoint was the most athletic out of all of us. Roman will tell you that. Just unfortunately got injured at Troy, could just never get that ACL right. And then the moment he got ready to go play overseas, playing a pickup flag football game, gets a dislocated knee. But with that being said, all of us still talk. All of us have our special relationships. But mine with Roman is we're going to always talk sports. Iron sharpens iron because I
Absolutely, it always does.
Yeah, I do a podcast with a comedian by the name of DC Curry. And we can talk about that later on. But when Roman and I talking, we come up with all kind of stuff. Iron sharpens iron. So when we get a chance to talk things like Arkansas and why they are the way they are, Auburn, which I enjoy, by the way, I enjoy Auburn losing. Let's just be clear here. I do not feel sorry. Just want to let you know right over there, people, I do not feel sorry. If Auburn went 0-15 for the next 15 years, I promise you I won't shed a tear. You would see me, if I was a guy that was just a huge alcohol drinker, I'd just probably have a gallon of Hennessy every time Auburn lost. So that's just it. Yeah.
You're always going to hear that from a Crimson Tide fan.
Yeah,
they're always going to say that they really run Alabama. Alabama doesn't run through Auburn.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Alabama is known in Tuscaloosa. No, I love it. Well, let's segue right there. Let's segue to the college game. There's a lot of high-profile coaching vacancies. You're talking about Florida. We've seen Lane Kiffin's name is linked to that. Arkansas is another one. Penn State, up there in Harper Valley.
Yeah.
We don't know if a good brother from Colorado may be making that switch. We don't know. But talk to me about those three schools, and there's a couple other ones as well. But talk to me about those, and how do you see those coaching vacancies being filled up?
Penn State, I think you really, really got to find the right guy. James Franklin, of course, to me, was very disappointing considering the talent he had, the recruiting base, and the money that they paid out. You have got to think what you have done to a locker room for people to pay you $47 million to go away. We just need to pause and just think about how much $47 million is and say, well, you know what? We are going to pay you to go away. So that means if we're paying you to go away, how much are we willing to pay you to come and lead us into a championship? There are a few guys out there that I think would be great for the job, but I don't know if they'll take it because those guys that I think that'll be great for the job are in pretty good situations themselves.
Right.
And sometimes
let's hear some names.
I definitely like my coach from Indiana. I don't know why. Signetti.
And they locked him up big time.
Immediately.
They locked him up big time. He's a big time player.
Big time. I like Georgia Tech's defensive coordinator. I like him. He would be a guy just from a persona to take it. I think right now, the head coach of Georgia Tech, I think he's in a good position. Even though Penn State would probably be a better job.
Of course.
Right now, with what he's doing at Georgia Tech, man, sometimes coaches need to realize it's about just being right where you are, what your fit is, being comfortable. Because if you do certain programs a certain way without the pressure, man, they might name the field after you. And Georgia Tech does not have a long history of winning consistently to where you come in and do what they do, make them a playoff team this year and consistently win. Man, the city of Atlanta is yours. So I just think I think he needs to stay, but I love his defensive coordinator.
Right.
Didn't like him the other week, but love him. So
Jay got a huge date at the end of the season with the old-fashioned hate with Georgia. We talk about Georgia Tech. Florida is another big school. Lance Kiffin's name has been swirling around, but I think he's pretty good in his situation. I don't think
he's the one. I just don't think he'll leave.
Yeah, I don't think he'll leave.
Now he can always. The great thing about Lance, I think he's smart enough. He can always use other schools to get more money.
Yeah.
And he's putting Ole Miss in a position of not just a typical Mississippi team that does well, but then slip and fall.
Yeah.
But he's getting them to a point to where now they're respectful. They do look like now they're not going to drop that game that'll knock them out of the playoff, that they look dangerous enough to be in the playoffs this year. And I'm excited to see them.
Yeah. I was impressed. They were the only school this year that actually, against, and first time in the Kirby Smart era, you know all about them.
Right.
And you know about Lane as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were the first school to score all 5 touchdown possessions against Georgia in the Kirby Smart era. Yes. Now you got to be able to finish that game. That's a story for another day. But for sure, I see them as a college football playoff team. So I think his situation over there in Oxford is really good. Yes. When you talk about the schools like Penn State in Florida, you need high-profile name guys, culture change guys. I think those are the things that they're looking at right now.
At Florida, though, at Florida, is that the way to go now? Because other than Spurrier and Urban Meyer, everybody else is kind of not done well. Dan Mullen, who's winning where he is now, got him to the SEC championship. Then the following day fired him. Right. I think now you need to get a guy who's probably young, or not though, who's gonna grind, who's gonna roll up his sleeves and bring it back to the Florida days to where these guys are jumping around, and you got the Anton Locks and the Ike Hilliards and the Rita Anthonys and all those type of guys that are coming through, the Fred Taylors and all those guys and Elijah. Get it back to that. Yeah. You know, those guys that can really get at it a little bit. And if you can do that, it takes a guy that's a grinder. Urban Meyer was hungry when he first got there. He wasn't a big splash guy. Of course, he did some stuff at Utah.
Yep.
But he was hungry. Steve Spurrier, of course, went the fun and gun. No disrespect to Steve Spurrier, but that was Mississippi Valley's offense. But anyway, just had to throw that out there. But Steve Spurrier was young and hungry, and he knew the lay of the land. And I think now you're just trying to go get a guy that's got a big name but ain't really won. You're gonna put yourself in the same position in 2 to 3 years.
Who's the best team in the nation right now, from top to bottom, when you're looking at all 3 phases and at the last game of college football? Obviously, right now Ohio State's they've been the consensus #1 pick all year. I've loved Indiana. I've loved a lot of other teams as well. I loved Alabama. You know, Ty Simpson. Right now, it'd be Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza for me for the Heisman. But if it was your pick, and not to be biased, who is the best team in the country?
Top to bottom, from saying playing good football, minor to one slip up. It's got to be Ole Miss, man. I think Alabama giving up. I'm not comfortable with Alabama giving up 3rd and 12s against Tennessee. I'm not comfortable with Alabama having those miscues and drops. So if I'm gonna go with it, if Ohio State had a stronger strength of schedule, and that's not their fault, they beat who's in front of them.
You play who you play.
Right. If Ohio State had a stronger strength of schedule, I would like Ohio State. I can't give the Texas A&M, and I know there are people going to watch. Well, what about Texas? I can't give the Texas A&M yet because if you look at who they played, it's just I can't respect with what they got going on.
Right.
Now we're gonna find out a lot about these Aggies in the next 3 weeks.
In the next 3 weeks, their schedule is probably the toughest in the country.
In the next 3 weeks, we're gonna find out what they're about. But right now, just looking at what Ole Miss does, they can score. Of course, it's not easy to play Georgia and have some defensive skills. I would give it to Ole Miss. I would take Lane Kiffin the way his offense is playing, and the teams that they can get stops. That they're the best team in the country.
And Trinidad Chambliss, he's come in and the offense has been seamless.
Exactly.
That's actually something that I have concerns about. But you've answered all the questions, especially going into a hostile environment like Sanford Stadium against Georgia.
Absolutely.
Although they didn't, they slipped up in that 4th quarter. He answered all the questions that I had there for you. So I love that pick there. So the first college football ranking is actually coming out soon. So that's going to be interesting there. I want to segue to the NFL. And this past weekend we saw Mahomes and Allen 10. Right, it's the 10th edition that they played. Allen is 5-1. In the regular season, but he always loses in the postseason. So
I'll just say, man, we're finna go there.
Say it's not really a telling story, but for me, this is kind of like, you'll remember this. It's kind of like the great Bills teams of the '90s. They made it the 4th straight Super Bowl with Jim Kelly and Andre and all those guys, Andre Reed, and they can never win it the big game. Do you see similarities with those teams now with the Bills? And is this the year that not only can he, but they have to get it done against the Chiefs this year?
Nah, because the Bills team we got right now, you can't figure out one Kansas City Chiefs win. And I don't know why you can't figure it out. those Bills team that went back then, man, you ran up against Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman twice.
Right. They faced the Giants once.
Right. They faced the Giants with a heck of a defense. Yeah. And they did all the thing they could. You just got a kicker who couldn't kick it. Then you go up against a Redskins team that was just hot with Mark Ripien in the run game. So those Bills teams just really were good, but they just came up against a much better team at their time.
Right.
And just to make 4 Super Bowls is great.
Yeah.
And the AFC wasn't soft, but you just talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Those are those Bill teams. Mm-hmm. This Bill team is all psychological, and I don't know if they're gonna pull it out when it comes.
Yeah.
That's what I would go with.
Yeah, it's interesting because whatever they're doing in the regular season, I don't know why it can't translate in the postseason. And obviously, outside of Tom Brady, we know Mahomes is a clutch performer. But the thing is Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Kelsey, as long as those trio is together and that core nucleus is together, you could add Chris Jones on there too. Right. They're always going to have a psychological advantage, like you said, over Buffalo. And my thing is that whatever y'all doing in the regular season, what Kool-Aid y'all not drinking in the postseason? That's what I don't get with them.
I think part of that, Andy Reid is the Muhammad Ali coach of football facing George Foreman. I think the Bills are George Foreman-like, and I think when they first meet in the regular season, I think Andy Reid is leaning against the ropes. Mm-hmm. All right, I see what you're doing over there. Great play, great play. Yeah. They're running that defense right there. They ran that on third down, and so he's leaning against the rope.
Yeah.
But when he get in, you let him in the dance, and you better hope he don't get in the dance. You get in the dance, now he's going to be in the lab. He's going to be this, and he's going to get up.
Him, Belichick, you talk about those great coaches, they're great at making adjustments.
Yeah.
The second time or third time they get around, they get to see you, they kind of started adapting on what they're doing.
Yeah, they're going to eat you up. So,
I think that's what's going on with them.
Andy Reid's the rope-a-doe, Muhammad Ali.
It's going to be fascinating if they meet again in the AFC. Speaking of the AFC, let's start off there. What team has impressed you this year so far?
Man, it's crazy it may sound. You just brought up their former coach. I bet he wish he was back there now. New England has definitely surprised me. Yeah. As young as they are and how they're getting at it. You definitely can't leave out Indianapolis, as young as they are. Changing quarterbacks. I mean, to bench a first round pick, that's a heck of a risk in doing your locker room. So those teams right there are good. I know people probably expect me, Coach Payton, if you see this, no disrespect to you, but Coach Payton, y'all are probably like the worst winning team I've ever seen in my life at the Broncos. Like, I just don't know how they figure to win. But hey, and Coach Payton, you know I love you, but you know for a fact, Coach, like, I don't know how y'all put these games off at Denver, but, I can't sit there and say y'all a good team, but your record shows otherwise, so.
Yeah, that's true. Bill Parcells used to be the guy, he said, you are where your records say you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they're finding ways.
But now I agree with that. You look at the standings right now, the road through the AFC would go through Lucas Oil Stadium, through the Colts. And then, of course, the Patriots, they're looking good. They're up for, if Vrabel's not Coach of the Year, excuse me.
Yeah.
And if Drake May's probably not comeback player of the year, I don't know what it is. That's just a whole culture change.
Exactly.
But I would say this about Denver, though. And I did mention, I thought the Denver Broncos was going to win the division this year. And the reason why I thought they was going to win the division this year was this same reason. I said that it's kind of like the Golden State Warriors. When you've been up top and you've been in the pinnacle for years, at some point, somebody got to knock you down. Golden State went to 5 straight finals. You know what I mean?
You didn't miss on that at all.
And the way that the Chiefs have been playing, especially last year, winning all those close games, I said the AFC West, their division alone was only getting harder.
Yes.
So I felt comfortable taking Denver to win the division this year. I felt very comfortable with them taking the division just because year 2 of Bo Nix, then you got year 2 of Sean Payton under his belt. So I felt comfortable about those guys. But the Chiefs, they've been 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. At some point, you got to revert to the means. And I just thought that this year, this was going to be the year. But it remains to be seen in the postseason what Denver does.
All right, look, man. Just all about getting hot at the right moment. Can Denver sustain? Can the Patriots sustain? Can sustain what you got? Because like you said, you still got those 3 over there, and until those 3 walk off the field, to make them lesser than those 3, Kelsey, Reid, and Mahomes, you got to respect what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about that. I want to shift to the NFC because the NFC, they've got some, forget about the top heads, just some tough divisions. The NFC West is tough. The NFC North is tough. Now all of a sudden the NFC South is such. Carolina's starting to win in some games.
I'm so glad you brought them up.
Well, let's start off with them because they shocked me. And I'm over here winning. I don't know how Carolina winning games. I know they got Rico Dowdle in the backfield and Bryce Young. I thought in year 2 he would be a little bit better. But now all of a sudden the defense is starting to come around, and I think they trust in this new coach that they got.
Man, I'm gonna say this: in the NFL, defense and run game travels. Yeah. And what I'm looking at is a young team that's getting confident if they get healthy, and they win it ugly. So if you're a team, when you see grown men who win ugly and believe they are winning ugly, you get them in the playoffs now, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah.
You do not want to get a team that feels like we've gone in Lambeau Field, one of the toughest places to play, and we're winning all these ugly games. They don't mind getting down in the mud with you. That's a dangerous team. Because most teams want to come in and score points and get turnovers and all that. And Carolina don't care. They can bounce back. Okay, we turn the ball over. So what? Our defense is going to come and get it back. Right. And we're going to run the ball down your throat. God forbid they get the 1-2 punch going with Hubbard and along with
Rico.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you got ETN who can't even get on the field.
That should say something.
so Carolina Panthers are definitely.
And I love T-Mac on the outside. I love that addition.
Yes,
I love that addition as well. We're going to learn a lot about Tampa this week against New England. But is Tampa still the class of the NFC South, or do you think?
Yeah, I can't. Even though I don't like them, I don't like Tampa.
You can't.
All you Tampa Bay fans, I'm gonna say it again. You guys got the biggest tanning salon in the world. That big old ship down there firing off. You're finally winning games, but let's be for real. For years, until Tom Brady came to save you, you were just a big tanning salon. Just a bunch of people, a bunch of losers in there with no shirts on, with the cannons barely going off. It's a big tanning salon. So kudos to you. You're the class in the NFC South. Big whoop. Go win a playoff game.
Let's go to the NFC North first before we go out west. I was very disappointed by what I saw with Detroit. And I thought Detroit was going to be a team that I thought this year could at least get back to the NFC title game, potentially go to the Super Bowl for the first time ever. And obviously, but for some reason, they're going under the radar. And Chicago is up and coming. Now the Vikings are back in it with J.J. McCarthy. And the Packers with their defense, they're always going to be there. So that might just be the strongest division in all of football. Forget about the NFC North. Yes. But how do you see things shaping out in that division?
I think you got to understand, like at this mid-season point, players are hitting the wall, looking for their bye weeks. And you got 2 new coordinators there. And at times when you get in certain parts of the battle, some of these guys who trusted in hearing other voices are now in New York and in other plot spaces. So Detroit, of course, they're going to be formidable. Now, can they host? I don't know. It's going to be up to them to really pull it together and stuff. Still looks like you going to have to go to that other division. We'll talk about it in a second. But I think right now it's just a question of, can you trust? Because I'm telling you, man, the key to success, man, you got to be battle tested. Right. You got to have talent. You got to have a team, and you got to be able to trust. Right. And if you can't trust yourselves, then that's it. And I just think right now that's just got to be built.
And you know what it is with Chicago? We'll get to Chicago later. With Detroit, they haven't won a playoff. Gotten to the Super Bowl since '92, obviously. Right. One of Barry Sanders' years.
They ain't made it to the Super Bowl. They got close.
They did.
The Detroit Lions?
They almost did.
Yeah, they almost got to the Super Bowl. They didn't go.
No, they almost did.
Yeah, they did.
With Barry.
Yeah, with Barry.
First of all, Barry was running with no line. Think about it. That's the main reason why he retired early. But we'll get to him later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My thing is with Detroit is, last year they were the hunter, but this year they're the hunted. They already lost 3 games. They only lost 2 games all of last year. So I think now, are they allergic to prosperity? That's my thing, because Chicago's up and coming, and Minnesota's up and coming. Right. That coach in Minnesota, I can't remember his name, but McConnell, he can coach. Matt LaFleur can coach. Like, there's some great coaches in that division. So I'm concerned about Detroit. I think they'll be all right. But my only concern is when they get to that dance, like you were saying, are they allergic to prosperity? Because when there's expectations, now there's expectations that need to be met.
I got to agree with you because, listen, let's go 2 years ago out in San Francisco.
Yep.
When you look at that play, let's just say the safety reads it wrong. If the safety reads it wrong, he overthrows the receiver by 2 or 3 yards. But the safety reads it right, and when he goes to make a play, the ball hits him in the face mask, which gives Ayuk a chance to catch it. Right. But if the safety just is out of the play, he overthrows him, that probably, they get the 3 and out or wherever they need, and Detroit gets the ball and go on to the Super Bowl. But they didn't. Right. Last year, you're limping because everybody's hurt. And you get a rookie, Jaden Daniels, comes in who just destroys it. And then, of course, your quarterback decide to say, hey, I don't want to keep it. I want to turn the ball over. So we might be onto something. If I'm a Lions fan, you just got to hope like this is the year because you just can't keep it 2 and 3. Your window when you're successful, and I speak from experience with the Saints, is 3 years to go get it, especially after you win it. Yep. Which is why people migrated to the Patriots the way they were doing. Like this is what we saw. The Patriots run was incredible. Yeah. Which is why you're migrating to the Chiefs now because what you're seeing is incredible. So that's why you might not love it, but you better respect it. Yeah, absolutely. So most of the time, when you get to the championship or right there and competing in those AFC and NFC championship, you got about a 3-year window. Absolutely. Then after that, these guys are going to go chase the money. And they have to, because the body's bringing in. So you got second contracts and coaches who are getting orphan jobs. So it's just hard to maintain. And then the CBA is going higher. And not only that, they got families to feed. So it's a lot of variables that go in it. We'll go to the NFC West because you talked about Jaden Daniels, smooth recovery for you. I think he's one of the bright futures of quarterbacks in our league. Absolutely. And Seattle, the thing I like about Seattle is for me, they're right up there for me. Their defense, you say defense travels, what Mike McDonald's has done with that defense, where Ernest Jones and Williams in the middle, Leonard Williams, they are a problem. And the way as long as Sam Darnold is playing the way he is, and they can run the football, and JSN is catching on the outside, they're going to be a problem in the NFC for anybody. But for some reason, their kryptonite is always LA. And right now, the way Stafford is playing with Devontae Adams and Nakua, how do you see that division going on? And we didn't even start talking about San Francisco yet. Man, listen, when you talking about the Rams, man, they got grown men up front on that D-line that don't like to play the radio. When you got one guy that can move 3 men,
Jared Verse.
We got one guy who can move 3 men. That's always a tough out. Yeah. But definitely kudos to the Seahawks who they don't have the Legion of Boom, but they got a Legion. They definitely do. And they're winning. They definitely do. And they're winning it, and they're winning it their way. But right now, the Rams are just so tough. And you just got to hope it just got to be the Rams with those games when they're their own worst enemy. Right. It's like the defense is playing great, but all of a sudden Stafford don't see it, and he will have those games. Yeah, like he's good for it. He have those games where he just simply don't see it, and then that's when they're vulnerable. But if he's hot and he sees it, and the Cool's healthy and Adams healthy, and they're rolling, they'll be hard to beat. But again, though, the NFC is just so tough. We still ain't as good as what we're talking about. We still can't pick them as the favorite to win it.
Absolutely. A lot, and for as bad as Philadelphia's gone, a lot of people are still rolling with the Eagles. We won't know, and I came out publicly and said that what Saquon is doing this year is unacceptable, right? And last week they must have heard it, and they got their act together. So you can never take Philly off. Yeah. So it's crazy. We're talking about all these teams and we didn't even mention Philadelphia.
Right. And going up to not to leave the West early. But even looking at San Francisco, man, when he was, when you're looking at it, I mean, the guys, to me, even though played at Alabama, I've always thought he's one of the smartest quarterbacks that ever played at Alabama. Matt Jones, I just thought, and just the way he's playing, and I don't even see how you could go back to Brock Purdy with the way Matt's playing.
Thing is, you paid him that contract.
They're very. That's the only thing. He's the money guy. Yeah. But because Matt Jones, what people unfortunately did, what Bill Belichick did, you gave him a defensive coordinator as an offensive coordinator. He's just one of those guys that mentally is so in tune. I mean, to me, it's almost borderline Rain Man-ish, autistic, to where if you throw him off his mark and kill his confidence, he's no good to you. But if you put him in a system like you've seen now, and everything's on his time, and he can play action you and survey the field, he's dialing him up.
Oh yeah, for
dialing
sure.
him up, man. I'm glad that he has an opportunity, and hopefully he'll continue to maintain that job, man.
Tell the viewers where they can find you, Mother. Where they can find you. Social media, if you do that. If that's still a thing.
You can always find me on Wednesdays on YouTube television on DC Curry TV called Dish Race. You can always find me there. I will start up my podcast at the beginning of the year. I used to have this podcast called Things We Like to Talk About. I'm just putting some things together, go in studio again, and you'll find me on there on TikTok under Things We Like to Talk About. But right now, if you want to hear me, go to YouTube television every Wednesday at 8:30 and go on to DC Curry Television, and you'll see me right there. Yours truly,
Brian Harper.
It's a pleasure. Brian Harper.
It's a pleasure. No doubt about that here. That wraps it up for us inside of the Red Zone, episode 10, every Friday, right here inside Flat Studios.
Yeah, like ASAP Ferg, I'm on a new level. Okay, yeah, hold up, we about to turn up. Hit a shot at the buzzer, crowds on their feet, they stand up. Okay, goals and touchdowns, had to add 100.